BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey, I'm Sam. I'm your Thursday guy for BodyBags. This week, it's a split. My bad. I'm so sorry. It's Splat horror. And the movie that I chose was Mirrors by Alexandre Aja. I don't know if that J is silent or not, or whatever, but it's Alexandre. Yeah. It's pretty good movie. Although it is another. Well, here's the thing of what kind of movie this is. So, in the early 2000s, and then up to date, basically, for the most part anyway, if an Asian horror movie was made and was really good over there, Hollywood would try to make an Americanized version of it. And back then, it worked out, one way or another, worked out pretty solidly. And over time, it started really sucking. So, like, at first, there'd be, like, movies like The Grudge or The Ring, or, Ring or whatever, right? And then movies like, oh, actually, my bad. I mean, it's still, right? I was thinking of, like, Outbreak, which was, the remake of Wreck. And then there's, like, Let the Right One In. But, like, those aren't Asian. I can't really think of if there was a bad Asian one. There probably is somewhere, but, anyway. This was one of those movies. This was a Asian movie, originally. Now, I don't really know anything about that movie. I didn't even realize that until a little later on, but then, it makes sense. Because I guess at the time, the theme of, the early 2000s, the late 90s or whatever, over in Asia, that being Korea, Japan, right? Were ghost movies or demon movies, right? Supernatural kind of movies. And so this Mirrors is a supernatural movie. And it goes along like this. There's this guy, and backstory to him, I think it was an accident, but it's kind of whatever. He killed a guy. And he delved a little into alcoholism, and so now he can't really go and see his kids unless he forces himself to go see the kids. And he's just kind of bouncing job-wise. And now he finally got this gig at this kind of, this building that burned down, and he has to basically, like, make sure no one breaks in and stuff, at night kind of thing. He's the security guard, right? And the place is littered with mirrors, and as the movie goes along, you realize that there's something in the mirrors, and it kills people, and he's next unless he finds Essaker, whoever that may be. It's a nice little ghost mystery, right? You would like to think all ghost movies are mystery, right? Or that's what makes a ghost movie pretty good, is if there's a mystery, and the further along the movie you go, the more you know, and the more you're like, whoa, right? In which this, it's not like an, oh, someone did something bad. It's more of a, oh, that's an interesting kind of thing. Especially what you realize what is in the mirrors, right? So the version I have of this, I'm not really sure on which company this releases. I'm assuming it's the Universal. My bad. It's a 20th Century Fox release. But it is, I know for sure it's the unrated. I watched the theatrical, and I watched bits and pieces of the unrated, but I more fell asleep to the unrated. And I think there might be like a 20-minute difference between the two. I want to say a 10-20-minute difference between the two. The gore seemed to be about the same, if not, the scenes with gore added about like 1, 2, 3 more moments kind of thing, right? Not really seconds, but like, like the very first kill I feel like was a little bit longer than the theatrical, like 5 to 10 second difference kind of thing. You know, it was like that. There's probably a couple of scenes that, like, maybe there's like one added scene or whatever, or like moments that are added to it, right? The actors, there's 3 main names I want to point out. And of course, the main one being the guy in the poster, Kiefer Sutherland. He's in a lot of stuff, but the thing that I didn't realize until I looked on IMDb, he's in Black Ops 4. He's in the zombie map Dead of the Night, which was Black Ops 4's celebrity cast map, right? That being in Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 and then Black Ops 4, they had at least, like, in Black Ops 1 too. They had one map that was like celebrities, right? That you could play as, right? So in like Black Ops 1, the map was Call of the Dead, and the celebrities that you could play as was Robert Englund, Michael Rooker, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Danny Trejo. And so in this Black Ops 4 one, Dead of the Night, Kiefer Sutherland's one of the characters, and then there's like 3 other ones. I forget their names, but like, you know their faces. So that's pretty cool, seeing that he was in that. And he was also in World at War. He played Roebuck, who was one of the Americans on the American side, because there was, for the World at War campaign, he was in the campaign, right? The World at War campaign was, you played 2 fronts. You played as Soviets fighting the Germans, and you played as Americans fighting the Japanese. And so you have the 2 fronts, and you have the 2 sides, and the 2 characters that you play as, and you go along, you know, those fronts. You know, from Stalingrad to Berlin kind of thing, right? So that was pretty cool. I didn't realize that. And then, you know, he was, of course, obviously, you know him and The Lost Boys, and there's a few other stuff. The second name, I forget what she was in, but like I saw that she was in something. What the sister, she plays his sister in the movie. I want to say her name was Amy Smart. I might be wrong about it. She's Blondie. She's the bathtub scene, right? If you watch the movie, you would know what the bathtub scene is. In which I want to talk about that a little later, because I was like, oh, I need something to talk about. She's in it. And then, what's the guy's name? I don't think it's here. So the actor that plays the little boy, that's, you know, his son, right? In the movie, he has a wife and 2 children. The actor that plays the son ended up being this big Disney star, except he died like in 2019 when he was 20 years old, and he was like, it was such a huge thing. I forget what his name was. I mean, it's like, just look at it, you know, go on IMDb or whatever, and you'll see him, and you'll know the face. Everyone knows the face. I want to say his name was Corey something, or, you know, it started with a C or a K. I don't think it's gonna say it here. I don't want to turn the light on just to look at this. Yeah, it's not gonna say it here. I'd have to look it up. But I thought that was pretty interesting that this was his first movie. It was kind of like, you know, seeing Johnny Depp in, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, except, you know, except he's dead now, so that's kind of sad. He didn't really have that long of a career, man. It was just Disney stuff. So that's sad. But that's pretty cool, though, that, you know, this was his first movie he was in. So it's like, if you have a group of people who really like Disney movies, and so, like, you're like, what's your favorite movie with this actor? And they're like, oh, this Disney movie, that Disney movie. And I'm like, mine was Mirrors. You know, that Disney movie? But one more thing that I want to talk about before I rate and, you know, book it. The bathtub scene. So, a long time ago, sometimes I would see a clip from a horror movie on YouTube that I never saw the horror movie, but I happened to see the clip on YouTube. whether, there was gore with it or whatever, right? Whatever. It was YouTube back, like, a decade plus ago, and it was, like, really, like, no one knew anything, right? No one knew anything about YouTube. Like, there was a lot of bad stuff on YouTube, but all I found were, like, horror movie clips, right? So it's like, that was a close one. But anyway, back to that. The bathtub scene was one of those clips I saw, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting that this is where that's from. I would never have probably known it unless I happened to stumble across it, but that's pretty cool, though, that, I think, alright, so going back, there's only, like, 2 or 3 movie scenes I remember. The bathtub scene from Mirrors, and the playground scene, well, not really a playground, it was like the indoor playground, right, where there's like all the tubes and the tunnels. That scene from Clown, that was the other scene that I remember seeing when I was younger on YouTube, and I was like, ooh, that's crazy, right? And I never, like, saw the movie until, like, not recently, but, like, a year or 2 ago kind of thing. That's when I'm like, oh, that's what it's from, right? So that was pretty cool, kind of like going back to the past a little right there. But yeah, I'm Sam, I'm your Thursday guy for BodyBags. I did mirrors for Splat, ow. For, this week. Splat Pack Horror. I hope that's the name. In which, the reason why it's called that is because back in the early to mid to late, during the 2000s, you started having directors more kind of make known, gore, right? Use a lot more gore and whatnot in the movies, and that's why, movies are the way they are now, kinda, yeah, I guess, yeah, because a lot of movies now tend to have gore, at least, especially a lot of gore, right? Specifically that. Whether it's indie movies or more bigger movies, right? So that would have been like Eli Roth, Rob Zombie, Alexandre Aja. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. But anyway, if I had to rate this movie right now, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. There's nothing really wrong with the movie except for some dialogue or some characters that I like, but, overall, I liked it. I liked how it played out and whatnot. This, I'm sure someone out there gives it a 1 out of 10, right? Because that's how, everything has a 1 out of 10. Just look at IMDb. Everything has a 1 out of 10, everything has a 10 out of 10. Because that's just how everything is. Which is, like, really, but, makes sense. But, anyway, I'll see y'all next week.